Steve Reich, actor and lawyer here in New York, currently Zooming a lot. And here is Michelle Fix. Give us your intro.
Well, I'm Michelle Fix. I am also currently in New York, very near to Steve, and I do a lot of comedy, and I've also dabbled in fashion and the home industries.
Right.
That's me.
And this is episode 60.
It is. Seis.
Of
Siete. No, not siete. What is it? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis.
It's above my pay.
Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six.
It's when I did my obligatory post-college, let's face it, privileged European trip.
Oh, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, and
I knew you studied French and that you were in France for a while. I did not know about this backpacking.
Yeah, with my buddy from college, I went all over, and I was in. We did Spain, like Barcelona, and then we finished up in Cinque Terre, which is for those who don't know, a very lovely, quaint series of 5 towns on the Amalfi Coast in Italy.
Oh, wow.
And, I'm on top of the world. I go up to the bartender. I'm like, dos birra. And he goes, we are in Italy. It's due.
It's like, you're not in Cabo.
And that was one of a multitude, a stadium-sized full of examples of me failing miserably with women.
Oh.
We could fill the Staples Center with examples of that. So anyway, last week I was in Boston. Now I'm here. My God, I got girlfriend back in town. It's like, we're living
Right.
again. I'm on a working vacation here in Chelsea. And it's amazing. And I immediately thought of you this week when I overheard, and I texted you this to save it for our webcast. I overheard
you did text something.
in the park. There was a group of family. Everyone's got their quarantine bubbles. And there was a family that gathered, like young people though, like so young families and newlyweds, and one had a kid. And one of them goes to the group. He's like, what was the worst idea you ever had?
That's a really
and I'm just
interesting way to kick off a conversation.
I'm like on a bench nearby, and I'm like, gotta hear this one. And then of course the question then became, well, worst idea, and he's like, no, like worst idea that you ever actually went through with.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes a difference. I've got a lot of bad ideas.
We don't need to pigeonhole to that. So you go first.
The worst idea I've ever had that I went through with?
I don't know. What do you want to do? The worst idea you ever had that you didn't go through? The worst, because I think it's more, I don't know. One way makes it like a regret, and the other way is just like, thank God I dodged that bullet. So it's up to you.
Which I am still doing.
So for everyone out there, I sent Michelle the invite to do the Zoom, and she goes, sure, can we push it? I'm doing my taxes. Today is July 15th. Now, as everyone knows, tax day is April 15th. However, due to the world ending, the government was nice enough to let us not pay until today. So you've decided, not even with the regular time, the 4-month extension, you're doing your taxes today.
Correct.
That's
nobody likes to do taxes, and I clearly work better under stress.
So everyone, Michelle will be up until 7 a.m. tomorrow with shreds of eraser dust and pencils everywhere.
Well, no, this is
God forbid. I know you don't have an accountant, because God forbid you let someone.
No, I do have an accountant. I'm actually going to I have to scan things on my phone and then send it to them so that they can do it.
Michelle, you have a very complicated return because you have a lot of sources of income and a lot of sources of expenses.
Well, that's up to them to figure that out. I'm filling out the forms they asked me to fill out, and then I'm done.
So
whatever they do,
have to provide those things. They can't make them up. I think Michelle spent $38,000 on FedEx this year. Remember the time we share?
You're like, did I add an extra zero? I'm sorry.
It's too personal, but we share a financial advisor. And to be clear, the financial advisor has never, discussed it's very.
Oh, he's never discussed you either.
But
oh, I tried.
We were all together, or you told me what he told you. And remember one year, several years ago, he's like, Michelle, you can't write off $25,000 in clothing.
I know.
He's like, what the? He's like, what the fuck?
It's a donation.
Couture.
Couture donation.
Oh my God.
It's like, all right.
I went to see your house for the first time, and you had a whole room dedicated to couture that you had to give away.
True.
Because you worked in couture for several years. So now, but unfortunately for you, it wasn't like you were just getting this for free. You were just getting it at a steep discount. But a steep discount for couture
yeah, like 80%
$500
off.
an item.
Yeah, so it'd be like, it's like sample sales that they have now. So it'd be like 80% off of what you would normally spend. And then sometimes they would drop it to 90% off. And because I am a hoarder, which we've established, I would go
kills me.
I would go ape shit at the sample sales. And I used to do that at normal sample sales. I would be like, I'm saving so much money.
It's like, it's not a deal if you don't have money.
That's true.
No, you know what? It's still a deal.
It is still a deal.
Even if you don't have money, a deal. That's like that would be like a great movie. I feel like that's like something out of like Leaving Las Vegas or something. Like that's definitely like some characters like a deal's a deal. And you're like, dude, you're
absolutely a deal's a deal.
Because yeah,
a deal's a deal.
Deal's a deal.
I know. Well, Felix didn't think so much of it as a deal.
No.
So
our financial advisor's a real tightwad. Thanks a lot, pal.
Exactly. Well, it's just finance guy.
We both have a bit of a clothing habit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is yours?
Becoming an actor.
Did you execute it or not?
Becoming an actor. No, I'm kidding. I'm kind of kidding. No, I'm kidding. Well, you know this. Again, I'll do one that I actually went through with.
Oh, good.
And I don't regret it, but it's probably the worst idea that I went through that I've ever had, where I decided to go on a reality show. And that reality show was called what, Michelle?
The Bachelor.
The Bachelorette.
The Bachelorette.
So oh God, I'm outing myself, but I was on season 9.
We've got to get footage. We've got to get footage.
It's not. This is how bad it is. They're recently doing like the greatest seasons of all time thing.
Yeah.
And this was so bad, I guarantee you I'm not even in it. It was such a disaster. So I thought, I was 30. I thought, like, what is it with like, that's not even like necessarily young, but I went through a phase, 25 to 30, 31, 32, where I was like, you know what? The world is my oyster.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I don't think you wanted to be around me in those.
You can't just be shucking, though.
Yeah, I was shucking oyster. I was shucking all right. So my buddy, who's like a stand-up human being, had filled out paperwork to go on this show at the behest of several friends, because frankly, he would have made a good bachelor. He was like, he's up in Boston. He had like a finance job. He's like a solid guy. And he got the paperwork, and he's like, they're loving him, and he's getting pretty far in the process. And he goes, I can't take off 6 weeks of work, because that's what you have to do.
That's right.
And then I was like, I don't have a job.
You're like,
I'm like, I'll do it. Scared, but I don't need to get in here and dish, okay? But anyway, I make this absurd audition video, because you have to, at those days, I think you still do, you had to make a video of yourself saying why you wanted to be on the show.
Right.
And my buddy lives in an apartment building where you could have access to the roof. So we go up to this roof. I gotta find this thing. I make this video, and I'm like, look at my view. It's just so obnoxious. And it was tongue in cheek, but if you didn't know me, you'd be like, this guy is a problem. Like, he's a problem. Well, lo and behold, LA,
I do think that.
LA is just like, give me more of that porridge. They love I get a phone call the second day or something. I submit the tape. They're like, we'd love to have you on a call with producers. I get on call with producers, and then they're like, all right, we're flying you out to casting weekend, which is like a weekend before, of course, way before they film the show, but it's like final round, right?
Right.
I'm just like, in the bag. I can see my whole life in front of me now. I'm like, good to go. I go out to casting weekend. I sit there, I'm schnupping and schnapp, whatever you want to call it, schmoozing away, just LAing the place to death. Like, yeah, I got this. And they're like, oh, you got this. I'm like, I got this. You know, and I don't have a ton of showbiz experience in LA. A lot of it is sort of linked to this. But boy, they know how to blow the smoke out there. And it's really brilliant because you know they're blowing smoke, and but yet you're like, I like this smoke. I like it. And you can't help but believe it. So I'm out there, and they're all just like, oh man, this is gonna be great. She's gonna love you. This is gonna be awesome. So then they come to New York and film me in my neighborhood. So I'm like one of the promo guys for the show. Like I'm like,
oh, I didn't know that.
I'm like, I'm on Easy Street, baby. Easy Street. So I get out there, and this is public knowledge. It's on there. Bada-bada-bum, drum roll. I get cut the first time.
I remember because he had a viewing party.
Yeah,
no, you had a viewing party.
I am such a shameless self-promoter that I still had a premiere party for myself and friends, even though I knew that I didn't know the second cut. But you know what? That was kind of cool. So I had a lot of friends who were watching it, and you were there. It was fun. And I was in the first episode a lot because I became this sort of like weirdo that they used.
You were New York pizza guy.
I was not pizza guy. I was a different type of New Yorker, if you know what I mean. And yeah, and the whole bar that was because I had a buddy who worked at that bar, and we had like a good amount of that bar rented out.
Oh, you had like 40 people. You had at least 40 people.
And then like there were some hanger-ons. We're like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, this guy, and I'm like sitting there, yeah. Everyone's like waiting, and it's the whole drama, and I don't get a rose, and everyone goes, no. And I go, oh! I like totally played it up. I was and then a friend of mine from law school brought it to my attention that a law blog later got wind of what I threw a party or something, and was like, can you believe this guy? He threw a fucking party for himself. He didn't even get past the first night. And I was like, yeah, in retrospect, I guess that was a little bit ridiculous.
That was amazing. Are you kidding? It was so fun.
Best idea I've ever had. Going on that show. And
but it was fun.
She's in her upstate house. You have a deck. That's the one that the hawk goes on and all that. And you were hanging lights off the deck.
Yes.
Was this in the winter, the summer, what?
It was a month ago.
It was a month ago.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I'm stringing these lights, and the deck is on the second floor. And there's no stairs up to it, so it's just like the deck, and then it's just, you look down and there's animals, whatever.
To clarify, there's no separate steps up to it. It's not a free floating deck. And there's no steps to it. I don't know how I get there. Okay.
So I'm on the phone with my mom. It dies, and I'm like, oh crap! I'll just charge it and call her later. And then while it was charging, my friend called me, so I'm on the phone with my friend, and I see my mom's called a couple times. I'm like, whatever. I'll call her back when I'm done talking to my friend, right? So then the doorbell rings, and I'm like, who the hell's at the door? And I have my friend is on the phone with me, and I'm like, I have to go answer the door. So I answer the door, and I'm like, hello? And it's an officer, and he's like, hi, ma'am. And I was like, hello. And I'm like, it's the cops. And he's like, we got a call that someone's daughter fell off of a deck. And I was like, I don't have a daughter. And he's like, well, it was something about there were some dangling lights and somebody's daughter fell off a deck. And I was like, I'm hanging lights. I said, I'm hanging lights. I didn't fall. And he's like, well, we have this call. And I said, who called you? And he was like, well, this woman called and said that her daughter had fallen. I was like, I'm the daughter. My mom called the police to tell them that I had fallen off the deck while I was hanging lights because they didn't call her back right away. I was mortified. Mortified.
Think of all the steps she had to take to get that officer to your house.
Oh,
The phone goes dead, and because your mom is so like of this cut of this cloth that instead of thinking like, oh, her phone probably went out, she thinks she had to head her off the deck.
yes.
And it wasn't like you were like, oh, mom, I'm just, it wasn't, there's no indication.
No, I did tell her I was having trouble getting this one connected. I said, I'm having trouble getting this little one connected. Can you hold a second? But I'm inside the deck. I'm not hanging off the deck. I am inside the deck standing.
So she doesn't have offhand, like, she doesn't know off the top of her head the name of your town where you live here. Because for everyone out there, Michelle did not grow up in this town or in New York.
No,
and her
not
mom's
at all.
out in the Missouri area. So she has no understanding of where day to day.
Oh, no. She had to look up the name of the town, look at the police department, get the number, call them.
Go online. I mean, it must have been 5 to 10 minutes, because she's not like a tech whiz, of all searching.
Of course not. And she doesn't usually go on the computer, so this involved my dad. Because then my dad has to fire up the old computer because they don't want to. They want to save electricity, so they turn the computer off all the time.
Your dad don't move quick.
No.
Oh boy. I think what happened is your mom loses it, pulls your dad out of his lazy man chair. They drive down to their local precinct. They're like, "What do we do?" They're like, "Well, where'd you call her?" They look at the area code. They do some tracer. They get on pass me through to the Middletown Police Department. They get some like deputy on the line. He's like, "Hello? People here think they thought I did a header off a roof." Oh yeah. Well, let me send somebody out there. I mean, like all the steps that had to be taken. And then this guy gets the call. He's probably 2 donuts in or whatever, or like fighting real crime.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, we got a report of somebody's daughter falling off her deck.
I know, and I'm just like, I'm so confused. What are you talking about? I don't have kids.
Oh my God.
It was hilarious after the fact, but it was mortifying in the moment.
Well, especially because little did you know at that time you would have a very frequent interactions with your local police department because of all this drug activity going on in the parking lot across from your house.
Oh, totally. That predated all the drug activity. So, but I did actually tell my mom. I said, "Listen, if I'm going to be on the radar of the police, I want it to be because they have my back, not because I'm a pain in the ass who comes over and they have to come over for some random jackass call."
Stop blowing up my spot in that local PD, Mom.
Exactly, Mom. I'm trying to build bridges.
Oh,
building bridges with the police.
Community. Oh my God, your mom is something else, man. And then, so what happened when you called her back? And you're like, "Mom, what are you doing?"
Oh, absolutely. I was like, "Mom, guess who just came to my door?"
Did she say, "Oh, thank God, you're okay"?
And she's like,
"No." The best is if you called her.
You know who?
Wait, the best is if you called her and she was like, "Hello."
Oh, she knew immediately.
Out there, Michelle, that wish they had a mom who cared and loved them like your mom cares and loves them.
All right. I mean, I appreciate it, but still.
That your mom was concerned.
I told her, don't ever do it again.
You will.
Next time, leave me
your phone's charged. Boy, phone dying, right? Mine just could. Boy, they just give out all the time now.
They do, yeah.
Oh, come on.
I constantly have it charging, constantly. And then I'm like, how did it get down to 12% again? What the hell? Although I did turn off. I turned off
self-destructive chip in them.
Yeah. Well, I turned off 90% of my apps.
Yeah, it don't matter.
In the background.
Don't matter.
It does help. But it helps. It does.
Gives you another 10 minutes. I want my thing running. I want my thing spewing radiation into my system 48 hours minimum.
You know what? I still have a flip phone.
No, you don't. You have a.
Yes, I do. I saved my flip phone and I got a second number on it because my iPhone was stolen once and then I lost it once. And I was like, if I don't have because I don't have a landline. So it's like, if I don't have a way to call people, then I'm kind of screwed. So I have a second telephone number with a flip phone. And that flip phone battery lasts 5 days.
Is it a banana?
5 days. 5 days.
Yeah.
5 days.
Michelle, now you sound like one of these old people because you know why it lasts so long? Because it doesn't do anything.
I know. But I'm fascinated by it because
honestly, you're like a grandma. It's like, I still got battery. Yeah, grandma. Because you used to call me once a week.
I know. Every once in a while, I'll just pick it up and go, 4 bars.
I'm running a business on this thing. With multiple businesses. And you're sitting here lecturing me about your battery power because you use it as a paperweight. And you don't even know where the thing is half the time anyway.
I don't know where it is. That's why it's. I use this phone to call the other phone. I'm like, where did I put that backup phone? Where's my backup phone?
I turn the ringer off so it doesn't use power.
Exactly. I literally don't know where it is right now, but I still have it.
I still have battery. Yeah, because it doesn't do anything.
I know.
What is it, 2G?
I don't even know.
You try and use a 3G phone right now, you'll throw it out a window.
Oh, I don't know. Like,
like
all it does is
we do not.
It is like
that.
It's 12 years old.
That 12 years old in cell phones is like a fossil.
I know.
Like that should be in a museum.
I know. I'm keeping it. I actually have a BlackBerry.
It's like the apes in Space Odyssey. They're like, oh. Doom, 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 doom.
I actually have a BlackBerry. Like, I still have a BlackBerry, but I saved it. You know why? Because in case I ever do a play where I need a BlackBerry, I have it as a prop.
There's the hoarder coming out.
I have it as a prop. I know. I might need this.
God forbid.
I might need this in a play.
See, like here's an issue that I'm going to point out. Instead of thinking if I ever am cast in a play, you're thinking if I ever create a play on my own, as opposed to like someone of you hire me and they get a guy. It's not my problem. That's props.
Oh, right.
But you got to go and make your little Shakespeare in the Woods nonsense and have a BlackBerry in it. Ever do a play? I need this black. That's props issue. You think they can't find BlackBerries? There's a blood dime a dozen out there.
That's true. But I come to a project with props. I'm like, you guys, I have everything. Don't worry. Don't worry. I've got it all. Which series of phones did you need? I've got 6 of these. I've got the 4, I've got the 6, I've got the 6 Plus, and now I've got this one. What do we want to use?
You're like a rusted shut Swiss Army knife. None of these things work, but they all do something.
But get a quick shot of it. Get a quick shot of it.
Like the dude with the coat, a bootlegger. What do you got? I got a Nokia. I got a Casio. Oh my God.